We went from the Islamic Republic closing the Strait of Hormuz to everyone except the Islamic Republic and the ships that they approved and the ones that they paid the Islamic Republic. That was the starting position. And now we have the complete opposite. We have the complete reversal. The Strait of Hormuz has completely been opened by the Islamic Republic, and the US blockade continues, meaning that the situation now is that the Strait of Hormuz is open to everyone except the Islamic Republic. So we went from the Strait of Hormuz being closed to everyone except the Islamic Republic, but to the Strait of Hormuz being open to everyone except the Islamic Republic. A complete reversal. President Trump just did an Uno reverse card on the Islamic Republic, let me actually show you the updates. This is incredible. Look at this. President Trump saying Iran has just announced that the Strait of Iran. I don't know. we're renaming the strait as well. Okay. Iran has just announced that the Strait of Iran is fully open and ready for full passage. Thank you. And then let me show you some other updates. Here, President Trump saying the Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready for business and full passage, but the naval blockade will remain in full force and effect as it pertains to Iran only until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete. Guys, this is the whole point of the US blockade was to open the Strait of Hormuz. And now the Strait of Hormuz is open, and President Trump is like, I think we'll keep I think we'll keep our blockade. We'll keep our blockade. Guys, I think President Trump found the main weakness of the Islamic Republic. So this is, to me, it seems that this blockade by President Trump is hurting the Islamic Republic more than all of the missiles and drones and everything else that they have done. Because the Islamic Republic was saying, like, we'll keep fighting. After they killed the supreme leader, they were like, we will keep fighting. After they killed all the main IRGC leaders, they were, we will keep fighting. After they destroyed all of the so many of the IRGC bases and the Basiji bases, like, we will keep fighting. And then after they put the blockade on the Iranian ports. I'm like, okay. What do you want? What do you want? They're like, you want the Strait of Hormuz open? They open it immediately. Guys, within less than few days. Like, it's not even, like, how many days has it been on the blockade? 3 days? Okay. Open the Strait of Hormuz. You could have it. And the problem is like, this seems to hurt you more than everything else we've tried so far. I think we're going to keep the blockade. We're going to keep the blockade. We want more now. Now that we know what you respond to, we want more. And also, it seems like this was a mistake by the Islamic Republic, because the Islamic Republic are like, oh, we have no leverage over the world. But the Strait of Hormuz, this is the Achilles heel of the whole world. We will control the whole world by controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Because no matter how much of our military you destroy, it's easy to control the Strait of Hormuz, even with little military power. And then the Americans were like, well, if it's easy for you, it's even easier for us. Okay, let's try playing it your way. Two could play this game. And they're like, okay, we'll do the same to you. And they're like, the Islamic Republic is like, oopsies. Like, oh no. No. That was supposed to be my move. You can't copy me. You do your thing. And again, this is making me think that maybe, just maybe, yesterday when President Trump was like, they're gonna give us the uranium, they're gonna stop enriching uranium, and there's going to be no time limit. There's going to be no 20-year time limit. I'm like, what? The Islamic Republic is not going to agree to that? They're not going to agree to that. But given that they opened the Strait of Hormuz, even though they promised that they never would, like this, So maybe they are. Maybe they are capitulating completely. Maybe President Trump has found such a weak spot that they can't do anything else. Like, you can't take our supreme leader, but you can't take our revenue. Killing our supreme leader is one thing, but taking our source of money, like that, you can't have that. By the way, if this is happening, this shows how much bullshit this whole religious narrative. Like, we know that these people are more financially motivated, and the Mahdi stuff is just a tool, because threatening all of this, all of their leaders and everything is not going to make them to respond in the same way that you cutting their money making machine, right? So let me actually continue reading. He's saying the process should go very quickly, and that most of the points are already negotiated. So President Trump, guys, we were wondering if President Trump is playing mind games by saying that they have agreed to everything, or is this really a description of reality? And it seemed like, given that the Islamic Republic capitulated on the Strait of Hormuz so easily, it might be like the possibility of this not being a mind game has increased. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's increased. And it says, thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And then we could see that it's official. Arakshi has confirmed. And guys, like, they're not even trying to make it seem like a victory. Like, usually they will try to make it seem like a victory, but now they're doing it only a little bit. They're saying in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon. Like, guys, the Islamic Republic didn't close the Strait of Hormuz for Lebanon. Then why are they opening it for Lebanon? They didn't close it for Lebanon, so why are they acting like this was all about Lebanon? Look at this. It's saying, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire on the coordinated route, as already announced by Ports and Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran. They had promised that they will not do this to their own followers, and now they're doing this. And they're also saying, like, oh, we got ceasefire in Lebanon. You got ceasefire between Lebanese government and Israel, which is, the Lebanese government is anti-Hezbollah. So this is not even a win for you, even if we were focusing on Hezbollah. To me, it seems like this whole Lebanon thing is like, squirrel, look over there. We're getting effed over here, so don't look over here. Look over there. Lebanon. Oh, Hezbollah. I think this might be a distraction. And more importantly, if you look at Arakchi's profile, they did not correct President Trump when he came and said that there is no correction, because President Trump came out and said, like, they have agreed to give us their nuclear dust, and they have agreed to not enrich uranium ever again, with no time limit, with verification by Americans. And usually the Islamic Republic, behind the scenes, they go and be flexible, and then in front of the cameras, they come and say, like, no, it's lies. We will never, hey hot man, hey hot, we will never accept such humiliation. They're lying. But now, after President Trump said that yesterday, there's no correction. There's no, President Trump is lying and we will never do this. And if you actually go to Ghalibov's account, there's no correction here either. There's no correction either. There's silence. The silence is deafening. Why is there no correction? This is not much like Islamic Republic. This is not much like Islamic Republic. And this is making the likelihood of maybe they're actually surrendering more likely, making it more likely, right? Guys, and also, if you want to see what this looks like, let me just play this for you. So look, this isn't a ship from Iran, and CENTCOM is blocking them. So this is what this looks like, leaving the ports in Iran, and CENTCOM is like, oh, no, you don't, and they're complying. Look at this.
This is U.S. Navy Warship 115. Request you return to original port of call in Iran. How copy? Over.
Copy, sir. Thank you very much. Copy, sir. Me alter to Iran. Thank you.
Blue Sky 4, this is U.S. Warship 115. I understand you will return to your previous port of call in Iran. This is U.S. Warship 115, standing by on channel 16. Out.
Copy, sir. Going back. Sorry. Bye. And then you can see that the oil prices dropped to 90. Like no news of a $200 per barrel prices. So if this continues to be this successful, we might see it go back to the original prices that we had before. But we are like way under 100. We could see 8% like drop in oil prices, and the stock market responded to this as well. Record highs, record highs. So not only we have a correction from the original drop, we also like went over that. This is probably going to maybe as an overcorrection, it will might come down. But you can see the market is responding. Let's see the Lebanon thing as well. Like this is they're making this all about Lebanon. So just quickly watch this.
We're just getting this in, so bear with us. Strait of Hormuz is on the screen for a reason. The Iranian foreign minister, who seems to be really the guy in charge, or at least publicly for Iran, just fired this off.
That is not true, by the way, and that's embarrassing to say. To say that Arakchi, the foreign minister of the Islamic Republic, is in charge in Iran. Like these people don't have enough information. I don't know why they're saying that. He's not in charge. If anything, Arakchi completely is a puppet of the IRGC, and he just reads everything that is put in front of him by the IRGC. So I don't know why they're saying that. That makes no sense.
We're just getting this in, so bear with us. Strait of Hormuz is on the screen for a reason. The Iranian foreign minister, who seems to be really the guy in charge, or at least publicly for Iran, just fired this off in a post on X, and I'm going to read it for you now. In line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire on the coordinated route as already announced by Ports and Maritime Organization of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So on that news, now while this is happening, the U.S. has brokered a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. Apparently that was one of the conditions that Iran wanted. So the president's saying that he may host both countries at the White House in hopes of striking a lasting truce there. So a lot to go through. We'll take it moment by moment here.
So he's saying it's one of the conditions. From the 10 conditions, none of them is being taken seriously except this one. And this one is not even in the favor of Hezbollah. Like all the most important ones are not being accepted. And the least important one, which is the Lebanon one, President Trump is saying, okay, we're going to stop the Israelis from. But they're not even asking the Israelis to leave southern Lebanon. They're just like, maybe stop effing up Hezbollah just for a little bit while we get this done. So also this is going to be a very, very historic event if the Lebanese and the Israelis meet in the White House for a peace agreement. Like that video and that picture is going to be like a turning point in history. Also, President Trump yesterday confirmed that he would be interested in going to Islamabad to sign the final deal with the Islamic Republic himself, which would be the most humiliating thing that you could ever imagine for the Islamic Republic. And it would be one of the most historical things that has ever happened. I mean, the levels of humiliations for the Islamic Republic is piling up. And this is going to be really hard to sell to regime supporters, which I will get to very quickly. But before that, let's actually look at the relevant post by President Trump here. And also with regards to President Trump's language when it comes to him talking about Israel, because I want to see how you guys feel about that, right? So look at this, what President Trump said here. President Trump said, the USA will get all nuclear dust created by our great B-2 bombers. No money will exchange hands in any way. This is very important, not necessarily not just because we don't want to give money to the Islamic Republic, but because this would be a winning point for the Islamic Republic. Remember, the Islamic Republic lied to regime supporters on state TV by saying that that Trump has already agreed to all of their 10 conditions, and regime supporters were retarded to even believe that, because if you look at the 10 conditions by the Islamic Republic, they wanted money, they wanted all the sanctions removed, they wanted all the Americans to leave their bases around the Middle East, they wanted the Islamic Republic to be able to continue to enrich uranium. Like that was ridiculous. Like obviously the Americans will never agree to that. But on state TV, the Islamic Republic announced that Trump had capitulated and agreed to all of that, right? And including getting paid. And the Islamic Republic needs a win to sell to its regime supporters, not to get humiliated, because the humiliation will divide, will mean that the Islamic Republic will lose the support from its last remaining base of support that it has within Iran. It will lose that as well. So this money not being paid to the Islamic Republic is more significant than many people think, because it will basically refuse any victory narratives by the Islamic Republic, and it will increase the level of humiliation, right? So no money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. I mean, guys, if you count the levels of humiliation, they're opening the Strait of Hormuz. They haven't gotten revenge for killing Khamenei. They're not getting paid anything. Hezbollah is being sidelined by the Lebanese government. They're not getting revenge for the navy and the air force being destroyed. And if they agree to the giving up the enriched uranium and not enriching ever again, that he like I don't like I would not want to be the Islamic Republic right now, because I have no idea how I could basically spin this to my regime followers, right? And then it continues saying this deal is no way subject to Lebanon either, but the USA will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the United States. Enough is enough. So this is like this language about Israel. I wonder what how Israelis feel about that, because I know many Israelis don't like the fact that United States has so much control over what they do. Like the things that they want to do, they have to get a green light from United States, and United States could stop them from doing things here and there. And there's this other narrative that this is just for show, and that United States and Israel are completely on the same page, and this is just to make it seem like they're playing good cop bad cop, and they're actually aligned completely. But I know that's many times that's true. I don't believe that it's always true. Like for example, during the 12-day war, we know for a fact that Israel wanted to go ahead and finish the job and kill Ali Khamenei. We know that President Trump stopped the Israelis. So in that situation, for example, we know that it was President Trump that stopped the Israelis. So it might be that sometimes they're playing mind games, but I think it's an exaggeration to say that's always what's happening. But the good thing, at least here, is that they're stopping Israel from bombing Hezbollah, but they're not making them leave Lebanon. So Israel is continuing to occupy southern Lebanon and creating a buffer zone, and they're saying that they're never going to give that up. So that's a good thing. And then, lastly, before we go to your responses, look at this. This is a wall of shame by the regime supporters. Look at the already, guys. This has only been in the happening in the past 6 hours or so, and we're already getting some delicious tears from the regime supporters. So I just wanted to translate for this for you guys to see, guys. I told you, to defeat the Islamic Republic, we need to make the regime followers believe that they're losing, and this is why this is a psychological warfare and not just a military warfare. And this ceasefire is achieving that more than the missiles and the drones and the assassinations. Is the ceasefire is doing that. And this is why so many Iranians who were really upset about the ceasefire, I think they judged it prematurely, because we need the regime supporters to think that they're losing if we want the regime to collapse. And this ceasefire and everything else, and the blockade especially, is achieving that more than the actual military operations. So let's look at the regime supporters and how they're responding to the announcement of this of the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. This person is saying this is what a humiliation. They martyred our imam, basically Ali Khamenei, and yet we're bending the knee. This person is saying خون شهدا, the blood of the martyrs. از رهبری تا بچه های میناب چه? Like, what about our supreme leader, the blood of our supreme leader, and the Minab children? Again, guys, the Minab children, whether it was their missile or an American missile, the party responsible for their death is the Islamic Republic, right? انتقام این همه عزیز از دست رفته چی شد? Like, what happened to the revenge for all the people that we have lost, for all the dear people, or the people that we have lost? This person is saying هر کاری میکنن بکنن، فقط اون اورانیوم غنی شده رو نباید از دست بدن، چون دقیقا مثل لیبی همون حمله میکنن بعدش. So he's saying whatever you do, whatever they do, whatever the regime does. just make sure they just shouldn't give up the enriched uranium, because if they give up the enriched uranium, they will do to us what they did to Libya, and they will attack us right after. So this person is saying basically, whatever you're giving up, the Strait of Hormuz, Lebanon, whatever, just don't give up the enriched uranium, because Gaddafi basically gave up its nuclear program and then they toppled him anyways. So they will do that to us as well. So this person is saying, like, what happened to the 10 conditions that we had? They told us that the yellow dog had already accepted it. They're treating us like retards. So the yellow dog means Trump, okay? He's saying, like, they told us the yellow dog has already accepted the 10 conditions for the ceasefire. Did they lie to us? Are they treating us like retards? Yes, yes, they are treating you like retards. And it took you a while to figure out what's happening here. He's saying this is the end of the Islamic Republic. I'm thinking of to all of the martyrs of Islam. You betrayed all of the martyrs of Islam. I'm thinking of what the Supreme Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, said when he was alive about the fact that there is like a there is like a treason happening within the officials of the Islamic Republic. You didn't even think about the martyrs of Minab. And then he continues, خون رهبری هم هیچ شما به عذاب سخت الهی گرفتار خواهید شد. Like, you're basically, you think that the blood of our supreme leader is worthless. God will punish you harshly. این واقعیت تلخ باید قبول کنم این بار هم ملت رو مسخره کردید خداوند از شما نمیگذره. So guys, these are regime supporters being angry with the regime, right? And saying this is a very bitter truth. I have to accept it. You are ridiculing the nation. God will not forgive you. And this person is saying, آخ چرا تنگه رو باز کردن؟ نکنه حرفایی که ترامپ میزنه به حقیقت تبدیل شود. So this person saying, like, oh no, why did they open the Strait of Hormuz? What if what Trump is saying becomes actual reality, becomes truth? This one. شهید شدن سید علی و دهها فرمانده و سردار ارشد و باز شدن تنگه و دادن اورانیوم و دادن غنیسازی رو شما میگید اتفاق خوب، اتفاق بد پس چی میتونه باشه? Okay, so this person is responding to a comment above it, which is saying, I think something good is happening. And he's saying, like, they killed our supreme leader. They killed so many of our IRGC leaders, of our commanders, military commanders. They're opening the Strait of Hormuz. They're giving up the enriched uranium. They are giving up enriching uranium. If you're calling these good events, then what does bad events look like? Okay. And this person is saying, پس کلا نقش رهبری به چه دردی میخوره وقتی نه اثری ازش هست، نه فیلم و نه عکسی، نه اختیاری، کلا حکومت به دست سپاه دیگه. Okay, saying, so what is the role of the supreme leader? What is the supreme leader good for anymore? When we don't see any signs of him, when there's no clips of him, when there's no pictures of him, when we don't see his will, you have completely given the regime to the IRGC. So basically, it's like, is the supreme leader a joke to you? That's what he's saying. We went into the streets for so many nights chanting. So remember, for the past 40 or so days, the regime supporters have been in the streets chanting every night, right? So he's like, we were in the streets chanting every night, every day, and our demands were very clear. And then you went and shook hands with the murderer of our supreme leader. And like you say, and the strait that is ours, and just like many other places around the world, we could actually get revenue from it. Just like that, you gave it to the Zionists. But this person saying بدبختمون کردن احساس حقارت میکنن دلم میخواد همین الان بمیرم. Oh my god. This person is like, they ruined us. I feel like nothing. I want to die right now. I just want to die. That's what this person is saying. He's saying, this person is saying دیگه داریم به مرحله ظهور خدا نزدیک میشیم دیگه از آخر. Guys, so let me give a context. So the Shias believe that the end of times, the Mahdi will come, right? So this person is, and the signs of end of times is extraordinary crazy things, bad crazy things happening in Shia Islam is signs that we're getting close to the end of times, right? So this person is saying the situation is so crazy and things are so horrible that we're skipping the arrival of Mahdi, and God himself is going to show up. So we're not going to have Mahdi coming. God will himself is going to appear. So that's what this guy is saying. That's how bad things are. That God will like, this is too much. Forget sending Mahdi back. I'm going to show up myself. That's what this guy is saying. And then the last comment is saying, الان توی این جنگ هم رهبری رو شهید کردن. هم مسئولین لشکر رو چرا آخه این کار میکنن این وطن فروشا. And like in this war they killed the supreme leader and they also killed so many of our military commanders. Why are you doing this? Why are you basically why are the officials, regime officials, so doing this treason or betraying us? Why are they selling the country? So these comments gives you a much better understanding of what the mood is right now. Guys, we were trying to get them into this mood for a very long time with all of these military operations, and finally we managed to get it by getting them to capitulate. This will make them upset more than bombs being dropped on their head. Like even dying, even if their brother dies, if their sister dies, if their entire everything they have in life that gets blown to pieces, it will not affect them the same way that the Islamic regime capitulating to the Americans, that will devastate them. These people prefer death over humiliation. They hate humiliation. They're willing to die. They're not willing to be humiliated. And that's why one of their most famous Shia chants is Hayhat min nazallat, meaning that we will never accept such humiliation. Anyways, sorry guys, it took long. I think it was really important to go over all of this so you all have really good context regarding what's happening. And now let's go to you guys.
All right, first to respond is me. Anyone else like seeing it when Armin's happy? This is great. So we're all happy.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna start. I have a few things to share. I'm gonna start in the most goofy to the most serious. So the most goofy we have, which is actually also serious, but Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all sea mines. Thank you, President Donald Trump. It looks like a cruise ship has actually run the Strait of Hormuz in exactly where we think the minefield is. So I don't know if this cruise ship is a minesweeper or not, but this is telling me that there are no mines. If this cruise ship decided to go through here, maybe there are no mines. And the Iran embassy in Zimbabwe posted this image, which is complete blasphemy, and they actually had to delete it. They were ordered to delete this. So this is just I never thought I would ever see this posted by an Iranian embassy anywhere around the world. But moving on from that, so this is the great part, okay? So Iran's state media, it's a channel called Tasnim, is actually criticizing Araghchi, like full on criticizing him. So you don't need to read all this, but basically what they're saying is summed up into this Iran International line right here. Officials at least explain the reason for your lack of explanation. If Araghchi is being publicly called out on state media, that means that there's people behind that, right? It's not just the state media. Someone probably told them to do that, or at least they're realizing that things are fracturing way too hard. Anyway, they're adding to it. This major fracture, which is being evident by the state media, is pretty much showing that something is just not adding up here, like at all. So when these guys want to go back to Islamabad or Vienna or whatever city to negotiate for like the final round, who's going first of all? Is Vahidi gonna want to send Zulfiqar? Is he gonna want to send his own guy? Is Ghalibaf even gonna be alive? Like who knows, really? So this is great. I also think we've been saying this for like months now. If they do make a deal where they don't have any enrichment of uranium, it's the same thing as regime change because they're going to lose their supporters. We've been saying this a million times. We're also going to go in and we're going to do this slowly. So Trump actually said on an interview today, he said the specific words, we're going to go into Iran and we're going to remove the uranium very slowly. Use those specific words. Drag it out, make this humiliation last as long as possible. And just keep in mind, the enriched uranium at 60% isn't the only enriched uranium they have. They have 5% enriched, they have like 20% enriched. You're gonna have to go and remove all the uranium that they could possibly enrich in the future. This is gonna take a while, and all these US personnel being in Iran is going to be such a massive blow to these supporters who have caged themselves in so beautifully. Next to respond is Jeffrey.
Yeah, I was just going to add to some observations that in part are outlining some of the fragmentation you're talking about, albeit from the other side, Tusi reported, and it's also been confirmed in other open intelligence, of a couple of hits against Mullah regime special forces operatives that the IRGC state controlled media is trying to say they're police officers. So you have second lieutenant, I can't pronounce these. I'm sure that Ali can pronounce them. I mean, it kind of further reinforces this is the anti-Mullah element. Basically, what you're having is you're having all these different things attack each other inside Iran, and hopefully we can leverage that, or I mean, as much as you can, manage this sectarian violence so it will expedite the reduction and or elimination of the regime remnants. As far as doing it slowly, it's probably also because it's not a simple process. Like it's not a simple process. In the Army, you kind of mentioned that in a couple of shows. That's probably, it's not like you just go in and grab a bucket and out you walk over uranium. It doesn't work like that. Here's the concern though. You're going to have a lot of these guys there. True. The next question now is they'll have to have security forces because there'll be potential targets for disenfranchised, more doctrinaire elements of the regime remnants. So it won't be just them. If they do send them in, they'll actually probably go in with some relatively, I can't see how they would do it any other way. That actually has both positives and negatives to it, right?
Yeah, so we got confirmation that the Americans are saying they're going to go inside Iran to get enriched uranium with the cooperation of the Islamic Republic. If that happens, that is we're not dealing with the Islamic Republic. We're dealing with like something else. We have to come up with a name for it. But it's not the Islamic Republic, whatever that thing is that is cooperating with the American to get rid of the enriched uranium.
Next to respond is Richard.
Hi, Lemon. Thanks. Just first of all, wanted to thank you for reading my super chat on Iran Revolution Live. That was me with the cry IRI. Tears are sweeter than candy, and then they are. I just wanted to mention briefly, just to give Trump some additional credit on this. I had mentioned to you a while back that I think the only like fundamental legitimate purpose to the negotiations is to cause the internal regime fractures and hopefully a intra-regime civil war. There's no realistic option any other way. If there was any doubt that Trump is approaching this from that perspective and seeking to maximize the psychological pain, I think it was eroded when he said that he wanted to fly to Islamabad to personally oversee that signature and basically force these people to shake his hands. If he was looking to do some kind of negotiations to disarm the nuclear threat, but somehow allow the regime to stay in power, that would be wholly unnecessary. So it's clear that he understands the effect that that would have on the regime. It's clear that he wants to maximize that kind of psychological pressure. He understands the pain points at the support level. So I think that's very good. That says to me more about his motivations in pursuing the deal than most other issues we discussed.
Yeah, I will, Richard. The way I will say it is that if this was all planned, then he's a genius. Okay, if this was all planned to go like this, that it's going right now, then this man understands the Islamic Republic more than most people. But it doesn't come through when he's speaking. Like, I don't know if when Marco Rubio speaks, I'm like, oh, Marco Rubio really understands the Islamic Republic. But when President Trump speaks, that level of understanding is not being, like, I don't see that. But then if everything he has done was with that in mind, then okay, like the whole 5D chess that people are saying that is true. I just don't know.
Well,
But yeah.
I'm not saying Trump is perfect, but you ask yourself, how many times have you said that exact same thing about Trump? That if it was all planned, he's a genius. And if that wasn't the case, how many times is he willing to sort of get lucky and have these things happen by chance if that was not the plan before we have to say that this is a plan? I mean, that logically, that's the only answer.
Yeah, but then we do also have like examples like giving the Kurdish separatist groups the weapons, which was obviously a bad move. Sometimes there's also examples like that, though, right?
I agree. I'm not saying he's perfect. He clearly makes mistakes, but things have worked out well for him on such a frequent basis, that, and I would look at that and say, well, if it was planned, then he's a genius. This has got to be at least the 10th time in the 5 years he's, served as president.
All right.
Next
Jalisha,
is Al Ice.
I mean, I'll say this in response to the genius comments. He's been saying it for 5 years. He's a very stable genius. So maybe it really is a thing. I never knew exactly what that meant anyway, but I just wanted also to respond to the tweet he had, because you were asking for like Israelis, perspective. I'm half Israeli, so I can give you half a legit perspective at least. I know I'm here kind of a disagrees here, but I'll say my piece anyway. I think it was like what you said. It was like a good cop, bad cop thing. I think he saved 3 exclamation points for enough is enough, just to, maybe show he knows his base is a little bit conspiracy theorists, and just to kind of show like, hey, look, I'm in charge here, not the Israelis. And yeah, I think that's kind of what it was. Also, I like that he spelled Hezbollah as Hezbollah with 2 O's. So that was kind of a nice touch. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he is a stable genius, so maybe he did.
Yeah, actually, to that point, that if they are playing good cop bad cop, that whole like you must stop, like as if ordering the Israelis, like I don't remember exactly what he said. They're not permitted. Yeah, they're prohibited. So that does make like his base, some of his base think like well, I mean, the retarded part of his base, the anti-Israeli part of his base, think like, oh yeah, this is good. Look, this is what we wanted. But it also what might think that some people from the Arab world or is also trying to convince them that I'm doing this for you guys. And also maybe some people from the Islamic Republic will buy it, that this is that America has this effect on Israel. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I can see it being just a trick, and behind the scenes Israel and United States being completely aligned. I just can never be sure, but I'm what you're saying is very possible.
All right, I forgot to add something. So when I was talking about them taking out, sorry, I'm next on the response list. So when they were talking about taking the enriched uranium out, this means that they have to go in and establish another forward base, just like they did last time, which is extra humiliation on top, because they're like, we did it once before. Now we're going to come like back to like 100 miles, whatever, south of Isfahan. We're going to set up another plane landing base, troops and everything, excavation equipment, everything to get these tunnels opened up, the uranium out and everything, and the regime is just going to have to sit there and watch it. So that was one thing. Since we started this discussion, the IRIB, so the state media of the regime, has now come out and is backtracking their agreement to removing uranium and all of that. So, like, if you wanna open this up, Armin.
Oh, we're finally hearing from them.
So, but keep in mind, this is the this is the state media, guys. This is not Arachi, and this is not Alibov coming out and personally saying this. These are people under them coming out and saying this. Why are they staying silent at the top?
Yeah, you're right. We're getting no statements from the officials, and because the IRIB is now the voice of the pro-regime people. It used to be the voice of Ali Khamenei, and now it's just the voice of the pro-regime people with some influence. I think different people have different levels of influence with IRIB right now. The state TV, some they have to give in to the demands of the being the voice of the pro-regime people. Ghalibaf might have his own influence, and maybe Vahidi and Zulgad have their own influence. It's actually very hard to see who's behind what the state TV says. Let's play this. Oh, there's no video. I said this was a play button. So what is it saying? Let me see the caption.
Yeah.
Foreign Ministry spokesperson, U.S. President's claim about talks with Iranian officials is not true. Okay, I want to see this. That's interesting. I wish I could see this video. Okay. I wanted to confirm that that's what they're actually saying. Okay. So what do you think about that?
I think that the people at the top, right, like as we speak right now, are probably hiding their families, finding new safe houses, establishing who they can trust, and I think they're getting ready for the potential backstabbing that is to come. Because this deal is going to be made one way or the other. It's not going to, like, Trump's not going to give him another extension of time. He's not going to tolerate this lasting for all long. And yeah, I think someone in the regime is going to have to answer for this, which is going to cause some consequences. Vahidi's going to go after them. Ghalibaf might try to backstab Vahidi. I don't know. But something's going to happen.
I mean, the way President Trump is talking about all of this seems like somebody within the regime is being very, very, very flexible. Like, if you want to, I don't know if that's mind games or not. Like, he says that he has really good relationships with them. Like, he's buddies with them. Like, I mean, look at this language here. Let me actually play this. Like, I don't know if this is real or not, but if it's like, I mean, I don't know if he's playing mind games or describing what's actually happening. But if this is true, then whoever he's talking to is basically giving up everything. Look at this.
No, Lebanon, right? So they'll be working with Hezbollah.
If they fire Jay Powell,
interested in acquiring Iranian oil?
what?
Are you still interested in acquiring Iranian oil? Well, we'll see. I mean, we have a very good relationship with Iran right now, as hard as it is to believe. And I think it's a combination of about 4 weeks of bombing and a very powerful blockade. The blockade is maybe more powerful than the bombing, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, the blockade is more powerful. Oh, yeah, so I was right. The blockade is more powerful, meaning that he finally found their weakness. And he says we have a very good relationship with them right now, with Iran right now. Did you guys think was that on your bingo card? That was not on my bingo card for an American president to come and say, we have a very good relationship with them right now. Okay, so what do you make of that?
So him saying that and all these people at the top not coming out and saying anything is making me think that they're on board. They made some sort of like promise or deal or whatever, and they can't come out and like piss Trump off right now. They don't want to do that. But the people under them, they have no idea. Like the state's people, like the spokesman, they have no idea that the deal has been made or whatever. They're coming out and saying all this. So now Arachi and Ghalibaf are thrown into this situation where they're like, oh man, everyone behind me is super pissed at me, but I can't piss off the person in front of me. So it's like, what are they going to do?
But the regime supporters are going to notice the silence. They're going to notice that Ghalibaf is not denying it, Arachi is not denying it. So we have to see.
I don't think they have. What choice do they even like? What could they even do?
If I was them, I would be like, President Trump, we will give you everything. Can we just tell our regime supporters, for now at least, that you're lying? But the problem is that they're just kicking the can down the road, because at some point it's going to be obvious. Like, just like opening the Strait of Hormuz, you can say that Trump is lying, but once you open the Strait of Hormuz, we can't lie about that. People can see that you opened the Strait of Hormuz. You could say that Trump is lying regarding that they enriched uranium, but then once the enriched uranium is outside of Iran, then you can't lie about that anymore. So, but it's interesting to me that they're not kicking the can down the road, because usually they do that until it's undeniable. Like, they will deny it. They will come like, no, Trump is lying. But why are they not even doing that? Like, are they that afraid of Trump right now? Like, this whole blockading of the Iranian ports must be really, really painful, that they're not even coming out and calling Trump a liar. Like, that's how much afraid they are of him right now.
People are in like Iranian forums are calling.
Oh no, yeah. Okay.
All right. Amy wanted to respond.
The higher ups in the IRGC getting their families ready to kind of bug out of the country and stuff.
Yeah, Ali, where do you, okay,
just
yeah,
to clarify,
Ali,
they're getting their families ready not to leave the country. They're getting their families ready so that they aren't murdered by the other IRGC people.